I'm figuring this out. I can't see very well, as you guys know, but here we are, real talk, real topics. Today we have a special guest by the name of Aren Tapia. He's a very close friend of mine. Known each other for a very long time, and Aaron's just gotten out about a year ago. So I wanted to get his outlook on this topic today, which is titled "What Personal and Systemic Issues Do We Face Upon Our Release from Prison?" Now, before we get started, I'd like Aaron just take a few minutes, introduce yourself, and then if you want to just go into our topic from there, feel free to just start talking, and we'll get this conversation going. Thank you guys for joining us. Once again, our special guest here is Aren Tapia. Go ahead, Aaron.
Like you said, my name's Aren. I've been involved with the Real Talk program since I got out. Um, it's something that I really have a passion for, being able to help the kids and just really help guide them. Try to help them through the mistakes that we've made, that I've made. And even the mistakes that I continue to make. Hopefully, they'll be able to learn through those as I learn through them as well. I grew up in El Paso, Northeast, as a lot of you know. Most of my life as a child, I grew up pretty well. I had a mother that loved me. Everything was good. Things changed after a while. Unfortunately, I started taking a turn for the worse, so to speak. And as that happened, I got involved with selling drugs and just being a part of a lot of things that I shouldn't have been at the time. Unfortunately, it only seemed to snowball from there. I got busted when I was 17 years old with a lot of work. By the time I was 30 years old, I was already looking at my first Fed case. I ended up doing 4 years in a federal correction. Um, it was tough, but I'm grateful that I've made it to the other side, so to speak. But
Yeah.
it's still a challenge. It's still a big challenge every single day, and just trying to make the right decisions, despite all the adversity that there is. And if anything that we've learned throughout these years is that if we can try and break the cycle by teaching the kids, what to look for, and just help them to see the long goals, help them to see further than the decision right now, and try to
Yes.
make good decisions. It's hard, and unfortunately, it took me going to prison to really be able to learn that, each decision that I make is impactful upon the rest of my life. It's got a butterfly effect. And
Yeah.
now I do understand, if I do wrong, I understand the repercussions of what is going to happen. And, I'm not perfect in any sense of the word. I'm not, I still make mistakes. I still, sometimes catch myself doing things that I might not, it might not be the most benefit for me, but
Right.
I'm doing the best that I can, and I understand the repercussions of everything that I'm doing, and that's a big thing for me now. Is that before I never looked at that. I never looked further down the road. It was always about the decision I made right now, and I'm glad that everything happened the way that it happened. Having to go away, it had a lot of heartache. It had a lot of there was a lot of things that were hurt by my decisions. So, unfortunately, I had to go through that, and my family went through it with me. And at this point, all I can do is the best that I can, and try to
So
make the
so
right
let me
decision.
so let me ask you this. A lot of people don't realize that doing time is more than just doing your time, right? It's more than just doing the 4 years they gave you. You know, when you got out, what's the backlash that you've received? And what's been the personal challenges that you've had with integrating back into being a father, being a brother, being a son? You know, what are those challenges that you face with that?
You know, I think in the beginning, everybody's happy that you're home. First off, of course, you get the hugs and the, we're glad you're back, and the whole nine, but I think when you get out, you're kind of smacked with reality, like, wow, like this this is going to be harder than I thought it was, because when you're locked up, you're making plans, you're writing them down, you have this tunnel vision of exactly how you're going to get things done, and you can get them done, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you can't, but it's a lot more difficult than you think, and especially those first steps when you first get out the halfway house, the adversity in that, it's overwhelming, and I completely understand why the recidivism rate is at what it is, because of the adversity and the obstacles that the system is basically placed upon us. It's not set up for us to succeed. It's set up for us to fail in many ways. There are good people within the system who do want to see you succeed, but
Right.
overall, the system is not designed for us to win. That's
I
just
agree.
honestly.
I agree. As you know, I've been out 10 years, Aaron, and I completed my probation through teeth and nail. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful that I was able to, and it's a challenge, right? So I know that the stuff you're talking about, the how it's built for you to fail, right? For instance, when you get out, you have to pay a quarter of your check before taxes to the halfway house, right?
Yeah.
Are they still doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to say when I first started, I got out, and by the grace of God, I was able to get a pretty good job right off the rip. I mean, it wasn't amazing, but it was a good job, and I was getting paid decent. And I thought, hey, man, I'm gonna be able to really jumpstart and get started. But I was smacked with reality real fast, because, like you said, they take 25% of your earnings, and that's before taxes. So they're taking a
Right.
huge chunk. And not only that, but I mean, a lot of us have kids. We get out, we got to pay child support. I want to say that if I ended up with a seven, $800 check for 2 weeks, I might end up with $250. Maybe,
Wow.
maybe at the end of it. And, it's, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, it's so discouraging at that point. It's like, man, like, how am I going to do this? Like, how do we make that work? How do we make that work for people trying to get out and do better with their lives? It's almost impossible. And that's why the recidivism rate is the way that it is, because we don't give people a chance to get
Correct.
out and do what they need to do in order to rebuild their lives from scratch, because that's what we're doing. We are rebuilding from scratch. So
Now,
it's hard.
I imagine that those systemic issues, right, that we're dealing with what we quote unquote call a system, right? Those challenges now add stress to your personal challenges now, right? Because now you're like you said, you get out of prison. A lot of us have the mentality of we want to go fast and make up for time with our kids and lavish them with gifts and be there for them and take them to do things. But then when you get out, like you said, reality smacks you and you don't have the money and it's causing stress now between yourself and the woman you had a child with, because now you can't provide. They're expecting you to provide because you're the man. You just got out, and they don't understand what you're going through. So then now you're arguing and then dealing with the system. And it's like you said, it's a perfect ingredient for everything to fail, right?
Yeah, it definitely brews the perfect storm. And when I was in prison, I learned about this, and it's a huge, huge word, and I understand every bit of it now. And that word is expectations. When you get out, like I said, first you're greeted with the hugs and the kisses and the love and all that, and then within a couple weeks, it's so what's up? Where's the money? Where's the what are you doing? Like, how come you're not? It's immediately, you know right back to where you were before you went in. And unfortunately, we're not in a position to give that way. We don't even have time to give. I mean, you're so busy trying to catch up that, unfortunately, our kids continue to suffer because we're trying to get our lives on track and trying to build and trying to do everything that we need to do. Expectations will set you up for failure, 100%.
Yes.
They will set you up for failure, and it's very difficult for we'll just say the mothers of our children, or it's very difficult for them to understand. I mean, even to this day, you get a lot of us get oh, well, you've been out for a year. It's been a year and some months, and you've been saying that you're going to get on your feet. You've been saying that you're going to help.
Yeah.
And you're looking at them like, man, like, eh, eh, I started from absolutely nothing. And had I had a better idea of exactly what to expect, to be honest with you, I wouldn't have told nobody I got out. I would have told them maybe a
Right.
year later, after I had the time to get on my feet and get things the way that they need to be, at least in a better position. I would have just said, you know what, you need to just consider that I'm still in prison. Look at it like I'm still in prison because I'm starting from zero, and I cannot take care of you until I can take care of myself. And
And and
that's it.
and you know what, Aaron? I've had the privilege of getting out two times, right? And the first time I did it exactly how what we're talking about. You get out, you feel like you need to catch up, and then I ended up doing nothing but catching another case,
Yeah,
and then I went back. And
yeah,
before I got out, I talked to my older sister, and she gave me some advice, and she said, "This time when you get out, I don't care how ugly this sounds, Julian, but you need to be selfish and think about yourself. And then once you're okay, then you can help other people. Don't worry about what you lost while you've been gone and trying to catch up with mom and my mom had my son at that time, remember?
yeah, of
And
course.
when I got it, and when I got out, I really did do that. I focused on myself and I was able to get out of that rut instead of doing it like I had the other time where I wanted to get out and start just going 500 miles down the highway when I didn't even have a car, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I completely understand that, and I think that kind of gets into what we should talk about next, and that's pretty much who you surround yourself by. I think that look, it's one of the greatest pieces of advice you can give to somebody just getting out, to be selfish. You have to be selfish in the sense of you have to understand that you cannot give to other people unless you have it to give. And if
Yeah,
you're trying to work yourself up, you're trying to work yourself up, but if you're continuously having to give, you're never going to get where you need to go. It's kind of like the game. If you're if you got to spend your re-up money every time, then you're never going to get to where you need to be. You're
yeah.
never going to get to that next level because you constantly have to spend that money. But it's a delicate balance. But I think that's where, who you surround yourself by is very important, because if you can, you don't have to be alone. I believe that you can be around other people, and people, good people that, can help you get to where you want to be, as long as you're on the same page. As long as you're on
Yes.
that starting line ready to hit the floor running, then I believe that people can help each other to get where they need to be. Um, you just have to be on the same frame of mind. You got to be ready to go. You have to be ready to, you just have to hit the floor running. And you
So
cannot surround yourself with people who are not on the same frame of mind. That's pretty
yeah,
much all you can.
they'll bring you down. They will bring you
Yeah,
down.
yeah,
So
definitely.
let me ask you this: what kind of trouble have you been having as far as like looking for work? You know, when the felony question comes up, you know, having to ask time for your counseling, for your single session, for your color code. Oh, I gotta go piss today. Like, how does that affect your day to day life? Not only at work, right, but spending time with your
Yeah,
kids, even. So they tell us to get out and be better and mend these relationships, right? That's what they tell you in our dad before you get out. Then when you get out, it's like, wait, you got to take this class, that class, still go to work, still report to the halfway house on time, and then still try to see your kids and all of this. How's that working out?
it's rough. I mean, it's rough like anything else. I think you really try to make time for everything that you want, but if you put time for everything that you want, you're never gonna get what you need.
Right.
And that's the sad truth. Like it's tough. You're absolutely right though. And dealing with all of that, I think the only thing you can do is just take it one step at a time. And I think that when you get out, you need to know that you need to set those boundaries. You need to let it be 100% clear. Like, look, I'm not going to be able to do this for, X amount of time. I'm not going to be able to do this. This is my goal. Let the people understand exactly what you're trying to doing, because you have to do all those classes, because you have to jump through all those hoops. And as far as jobs go, that box is terrible. Checking that box is
Yeah.
terrible. I mean, it's rough. I've truly been blessed. I had somebody help me get a job, and that really turned into something good, and that led to something better. And it's just hard, man. It's hard because that stigma that you never see, that cloud that you never seem to get away from. And
Right.
people are gonna look at you like a piece of trash, like a piece of garbage. People, even the people you love. I mean, the people who are placing these expectations on you, they're gonna, every time you are not doing what they think you should be doing, you better prepare to hear it. You better
Yeah.
prepare to hear about what a deadbeat you are, or what a loser you are, or how worthless you are. And it may not be true. You know it to your heart that it may not be true, but nevertheless, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt, and it's gonna hurt bad, especially when you're trying to give all that you can.
Yes.
It's tough. It's tough, but just like the system looks at us in a certain way because of that box, uh, unfortunately, our loved ones and even family, they look at us the same way. But
Yeah.
it's up to us to not fall into that self-pity, to know that we're better than that, to know, that I'm more than what you see, and I'm more than what
Yes.
you remember. And as long as I know that I will get to a point to where you respect me. And you just got to keep pushing for that.
Now let me ask you this: how hard has it been to mend relationship with those closest to you, right? Those that you hurt the most when you went in, right? Because the ones that we hurt the most are the ones that we didn't hurt them just by going to prison. We were already hurting them on our way to prison, right? And those are those relationships that while we're in prison are hanging on by a fine thread. And when you get out, how hard has it been for you to maybe not fully mend, but to at least start building those bridges, right?
Yeah, yeah. Man, men. When you have to mend those bridges, it's I I'm really looking for the right way to say this, but sometimes you just got to understand that the bridge is burnt. And sometimes you just have to really understand that some people are gonna look at you the way they look at you for the rest of your life, because they're gonna blame you for everything in their life. Um, I think that, especially with the people close to you, I think that, if you truly value the relationship, if you truly feel like you need this person in your life, then, you can do all you can to mend it, by showing them that you are a different person. But I think a
Right.
lot of times we got to remember that those people that we had in our life were part of a different person. They were part of
Yes.
a different life, you know. They were part of the Aren that I was before. They were part of Ace. That's
Yeah.
that's who they were part of. But they're not a part of the person that I am today. Now, as far as
Right.
mom goes, and brothers and sisters and stuff, like I said, you just gotta show them that you're not that person that the world painted you out to be.
Yeah. Yeah. No. No. And I mean, a lot of times is we painted ourselves out to be right. I mean, it's with our
Absolutely,
actions. So
absolutely,
so so I know, like I said, I know you on a personal level. For those of you out there, this is why we're getting a little more in depth. Um, Aaron, I know last time we talked, you're going into cosmetology school. You're looking to become an entrepreneur. Take your skills from what you used to do back in the day, because a lot of people don't understand running a drug, maybe not a cartel, but when you have a crew, right? There's levels to this shit. You might not be the biggest, baddest, but you have a crew. It's like running a business, right? So you learn these things, and it puts that entrepreneur spirit in you, right? So I admire everything you've been doing to get into the school, because you do have a felony, and I know you've been fighting to get in. Tell us a little bit about that process and where you are with it now. I know that coronavirus has put a damper on a lot of things, but give us that process of what you went through to
Uh,
to ultimately chase your dream.
you know, it wasn't necessarily like when I was in prison, this isn't what I planned to get out and do. I mean, I was like, look, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go to school. I'm gonna take that 7 year degree. I'm gonna go for psychology. And that's what I want to do. That's my passion. But
Right,
because I didn't understand the mechanics of getting out and starting over and truly doing it, the expectations of all the people around me trying to things need to be taken care of. So I understand that right now in the situation that I put myself in, I need to take levels. There needs to be steps. I can't just jump straight to the top and expect that to be, the way to go. Like for me, that's not
right.
that, and for many others, that's not. We don't have the option of doing that. So I'm gonna do it in levels. Right now, I'm going for cosmetology. I hope that I want to open up a shop, nails, hair, all that. But I want to go to school for it, so I know when I hire people, when I do this, I want to understand the mechanics, the structure, everything
Yeah,
about it. So I'm going for that now. I also know that I can knock that out in 12 to 18 months, and as soon as that 12 to 18 months is done, I'll be able to do that in my own time, because with that job I can go ahead and set appointments when I want to set appointments, how I want to set appointments, all of that in my own time. This way I could work that around going to school for what I really want to go to school for. So this is going to set me up in order to be able to chase that dream up here. That
that's good.
that's the ultimate goal.
And you know what I always tell these kids when we go talk to them at the schools, man, is plan your work and work your plan. And it seems to me like you've been planning your work and now you're working your plan. And Aaron, I'm very proud of you, man. Like I said, I've been out 10 years, and it's been hard. It's been hard, and I remember my first 4 or 5 years, the ups and downs, the trying to find traction, trying to find that lane that I fit in, that jet stream that I belonged on, man, because it was hard, dealing with probation and you know in a new relationship, it's stepkids, uh, having custody of my son, probation, not finding work. It was tough, but I'm very proud of everything you're doing, and everybody here at Real Talk is proud that and happy to have you on our team, and it's an honor to have you speak with me. We've been friends for so long. It's been amazing to see your process moving since you've been out.
I appreciate it, man. I definitely appreciate it, and I appreciate the help that I've gotten from you and everybody else. The people who have really came through for me, man. My mom.
Yeah,
It's. I mean, you know the story with me and my mom, and it was
yeah,
rough. It was so rough. But I'll tell you what, when I was gone, that's my rock. And
yeah.
she went above and beyond in taking care of me while I was gone. And there was a few friends. When I got out, you helped me, and um, I'm truly appreciative of all those things. And I I just I'm grateful, man. I'm grateful.
Yeah.
I know, things. I'm not exactly where I want to be, at all. I'm not where I want to be at all. But I hope to be able to get where I want to be, and
You'll,
that's just one step at a time.
yes, keep working your plan, and no matter how long it takes you to scratch off that one item on that plan, keep knocking it out till you're able to scratch it off. Well, Aaron,
Yeah.
as you know, before I get off every one of these streams, I like to leave people with a sad story, funny story, a violent story of a time in prison that I can remember. You know, that one time in prison camp. So today, I want to let you, if you have a story you want to share, and maybe some funny, some sad, some
Um,
whatever.
yeah, sure. I got one. It's not so much of a funny story, but I guess it can correlate with what we're talking about right now. And when I was inside, I was going through a lot. Not that anybody else in there isn't. My situation, I was going through a lot. Personal relationships, falling apart, with friends, and just everything in the world that it was just falling apart in the world. So I got in a lot of trouble. I got in a lot of trouble when I was on the inside, and I ended up in the hole numerous times. And if anybody could tell you, as you know, solitary confinement is something that nobody can truly understand unless you have lived it. Unless you've lived through
Yeah,
being in the hole, you can never truly understand what it is. You see all these people complaining about being on lockdown right now, but you put them in a what, a 10 by 10
6 by 8.
room. Yeah, you put them in a 6 by 8 room by themselves for months with no radio, no nothing. You get no human contact. You get fed through a hole in the door. Um, it's just you go crazy, and I went through that numerous times. And I say that to say this: the last time that I was in there, I kind of just I broke down and I was like, you know what, God, like my way is not working.
Right.
It's not working. My way is not working, and I keep up ending up here, jail inside a jail. Like I'm not getting it. My decisions like are just terrible. My decisions like I'm just not seeing. And that time I was gonna lose my year for RDAP. You get a year for getting. You get a year off your sentence for participating in this program, but if you get in trouble, they take that year away, and you have to do
Yeah.
the full sentence. So at this point, I'm looking up to God like, man, please, like, don't take this year from me. Please don't take this year from me. Um, I get it. My decision making, I realized that my decisions were affecting everything further, and it had been my whole life. So the decision that I made was ultimately going to affect me getting out that year, and me, seeing my family a year sooner, and all of that. So I told him, I said, God, just please, just forgive me, and just know that I'm sorry, and I'm going to do it your way. I'm not perfect. I still make mistakes every single day, but I will do it to the best of my ability your way. And I
Amen.
held my faith, and the next morning they come by and they tell me that I'm going to go ahead and be able to retake the program, and I'll go ahead and be able to get out on time. And it just showed me, man, because I had been waiting months, and then the second that I hit my knees and I gave it to God, it just it he answered. I knocked and he
Amen.
answered, and that's just one thing that I can give to I want to be able to give to everybody that is out there, struggling, is just to keep your faith. Just keep
Amen.
your faith no matter what, no matter how terrible the situation, no matter how horrible it is, no matter what you feel like you're about to lose, the possibility of redemption is always there. The
Amen.
possibility of God showing up is always there, but it's got to be in your heart to want to change, to really want
Yes.
to show that you can be a different person. And God knows when you're honest. You know,
Amen.
God knows when you're honest. And I hate to get all spiritual and religious or anything like that, but I think
No,
right now,
no.
what a lot of people are going through, the best thing that I could tell people is just to keep your faith. Keep your faith, like no matter how hard it is. Because sometimes we just want to give up. And I get to that point even recently. I get to the point to where I just want to give up. But I keep in mind all those things that are important, that are bigger than me.
Yes.
So everything will be all right, one way or another.
Yes, I agree. I agree. So I'm gonna leave them with one story from when I was at FSL La Tuna. Uh, and for those of you that don't know, La Tuna has three prisons. The one by Wet and Wild, that's a camp. The one that looks like the old Spanish mission, that's the FCI. And then you got the FSL, that's on Batesfield. I would never have seen low custody had there not been a riot and they sent me to RDAP.
Yeah.
I went to this prison. This prison was crazy. I had never been to these so-called Disney prison camps that I had so much heard about. There was a guy named Snake that would go in and out every day and bring in cans of tobacco, and they called him Snake. They called him Snake because he would bring in the cans of chew in a big snake up his butt, right? Sometimes it fit like I can't even get my fingers out here to show you, but it'd be like a tube like that of just dip. Well, one day Snake comes in from coming out from the compound because they used to go to Bigfield to like mow lawns and clean the Sergeant Major Academy. So he's coming in and he's green in the face. He's throwing up. He's throwing up, and he gets into the unit. I'm like, "What's wrong? What's wrong, Snake?" He goes straight to the bathroom. And he pulled out this big old snake that's in his butt. It
Yeah.
was 13 cans. It was 13 cans of skull mint, and the bag, the thing had ripped. So all the tobacco was in his intestines. He was throwing up. He was green, nasty. He took him out. He took him out of his butthole, and then he sold them still, and people still bought them for $80 a can. That's the kind of stuff we did in
Yeah.
prison to
Yeah.
get your fix of tobacco. It's
Okay.
gross. Kids don't go to prison.
Look,
Aaron,
look,
it
real
was good
quick, real
having you
quick.
on. Go
G-
ahead.
I got one for you, man. So you remember, you know how it is. Everybody sneaks stuff out the kitchen and they sell it. Onions. I mean, if you can sneak it out the kitchen, they're gonna sell it.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so one time I believe I'm at Safford as a matter of fact, and so I'm at Safford and
Okay.
we're sneaking. I'm a dishwasher, so I'm running with things and mind you, doing dumb things that could have cost me my year. This is what I'm talking about for some stamps, you know. So I'm there and I'm the runner, so they saran wrap me with all the chopped onions and all of that. I got it wrapped around around my body with the saran wrap. So I got chopped onions, I got chopped jalapenos, I got tomatoes, I got everything, bro. So I run out the kitchen, I get all the way to the building. Well, it was controlled movement, so the door wasn't open. So I'm standing there for like 30 minutes, man, and then I'm like, man, I get this real uncomfortable feeling, man. I hate to even talk about this, but it's hilarious. I get this real uncomfortable feelings on my backside, bro. And I'm like, man,
Oh,
what is that? Like, what is happening? Because it's on my back. It's nowhere by my ass or nothing. It's on my back. But I'm like, man, I get this burning sensation. And I'm like, yo,
the
what is this? What?
jalapeno.
The jalapeno bag busted, bro, and it was dripping down my crack, bro.
Nasty.
Oh my God,
Nasty.
bro. Hey, people talk about burning in your eye and in your nose, bro. You get some jalapeno juice down your crack, bro. Oh my God. It
Yeah.
was funny, man. I didn't live that one down for a while, but you know, you have
That's
those
gross. And
moments
then
in there that are funny sometimes.
you had to go shower in that communal
Absolutely.
shower that they have in there.
Absolutely. In the shower with flies in it and
Nasty.
it's something
Nasty.
else, bro. But you know, there
Well,
was some times
Aaron,
in prison that you remember.
yes, no, definitely. Aaron, it was nice having you on. Thank you for coming on, getting personal with us, and sharing your most personal stuff. I appreciate you. That's what Real Talk is about.
Absolutely.
Uh, until next time, you guys, this is Julian and Aaron Tapia with Real Talk, Real Topics. Until the next time we see you, be kind, find your peace, and always love your children. Thank y'all for watching us. Keep sharing these videos. Thank you. See you later, Aaron.
Later, buddy.